We are back, and I just finished watching the latest episode of The Mandalorian, and I wanted to share my thoughts. I feel like the season is just getting started, and it's the last two episodes. It's like second to last episode. So I'm a little frustrated with that. My first thought right off the bat when Grief Karga brings in the now IG-12 instead of IG-11 that has Boba Frick inside it, and they swap him out for Grogu. It's cute, and it's going to sell toys because everyone's going to want that figure with the one that goes inside, and maybe it'll be an option where it gives you Boba Freak and it gives you, or Baba Freak, whatever his name is, and it gives you Grogu as well. But it's not practical. It's just not a practical thing. It's not fast. It's like his pod that he floated around in seemed to get him around and made him more mobile. Although this is kind of like a mecha suit, like a Japanese anime now. They haven't given him guns or anything. He's just walking around pointing. It just seems so useless. Kind of like the Mandalorian Beskar jacket and plate for his chest when it's pretty clear his head is completely exposed. Like at some point, I'm sure they're going to give him a helmet, but will the helmet have ears that come out of it? I don't know. Like I feel like this thing with IG-12 is just a bad gimmick. I just don't see the practicality in it. My other thought is, why does the story progress to a certain point and then all of a sudden some random dinosaur, space dinosaur, comes out of nowhere and knocks out half a dozen Mandalorian? It's this, again, I feel like they keep repeating these themes. Go to a planet, unexpectedly a giant dinosaur comes out of nowhere. Go to another planet, unexpectedly a giant dinosaur comes out of nowhere. It felt like filler in the episode. The Mandalorians in that sailboat seemed pointless when they have spaceships and they have an armada up above. They send one ship down. It lands so far away that they have to walk on foot for miles when they could have just landed the ship closer. If Bo-Katan knew where the forge was, or that we have to find the forge, you kind of know where the layout is of Mandalore. And if you've got ruined buildings, wouldn't you know which building to kind of land in front of? But I get it. It's story. They have to kind of make this thing a story. They get on the barge, and then there's this battle. There's these conflicts between the two factions. I get it. It was fine. If they were trying to figure out a way to make the death of the one Mandalorian with the big gun, you know, the one that Jon Favreau plays, I don't know his name. And see, that's how much I've like not invested in the show like I did for season one. I don't even know these people's name, the characters' names. And that hurts me as a Star Wars fan, because I'm just like, whatever. So you get this guy, there's this duel, and he kind of started it again because he's like the Neanderthal of the bunch. And so when he decided to stay behind at the end and sacrifice himself, for me, it didn't have the weight of like when everyone was dying in Rogue One. And I don't know whether it's that because you can't see the expression on his face because of the helmet, although, you know, you can emote through the helmet with head tilts and stuff. I don't know if it was the music cues that didn't make me feel anything for him dying. I was just kind of like, oh, well, he's dead. But you almost feel like the way they were setting him up throughout the entire show, at some point he would be expendable because it's just what it is. So, you know, we get the big reveal with Moff Gideon, you know, 2 episodes before the end. We finally get Moff Gideon back in season 3 with 2 episodes left. And he is on Mandalore, and that was the whole big secret thing. And he's been doing a new Imperial base there within the catacombs, has TIE interceptors, and then now he's got a fleet of these super soldiers. All of them are wearing Beskar armor. How are they forging that armor? Like, to all be perfectly symmetrical for every single trooper. I mean, you know, I get it. They've got the technology. They don't do it old school, like, you know, banging on a piece of metal with a hammer like they do. I don't know, man. Like, it's like it's just getting started and the season's over. I digress back to the ship. Why didn't they just take a ship down and then go right to where the place is? But they have to walk all this distance and then get on a sailing barge, and then they're barely on that, and then, hey, giant dinosaur comes out of nowhere. You know, are they setting this up because on Mandalore at some point Din Djarin's going to jump on a mythosaur and fight the other dinosaurs? Is that, I mean, is that where we're going with it? I mean, and if it is, okay, I get it. You know, I can see why this season has like a 52% audience score. I loved the first season. I thought the second season started to put too much filler in, and now this third season's just not, you know. And the thing with Bo-Katan, and again, these are just director's choices, so it's aesthetic stuff. But how many times can we see Bo-Katan standing somewhere looking off into the distance as they just hold the camera on her? It's every other scene, standing on the cliff, standing on the barge, and just thinking. And then someone says something stoic, and she just stares off into the distance. It's like, and I'm not trying to hate on this. I genuinely love the first season and the second season, minus some stuff. You know, I always have problems with the runtime, but it just doesn't feel like it's going where it needed. It needed to go fast enough for 8 episodes, for us to just, or whatever, us to just be done. You know, we've got 1 episode left, and it's like, okay, you've got to do something in this last episode like you did at the end of season 2. You know, but the way they've set it up, there's no, you know, it doesn't seem like they're going to bring a de-aged Han Solo or a de-aged Princess Leia in this in some capacity. I feel like if that does happen, it'll happen several years down the road when they finally pull everything together for the feature film, where they can dump all the assets, and, you know, 5 years down the road, this stuff will look flawless than what it does now. And then we might get those kind of cameos. Or they might do it in Ahsoka. But even then, you know, it's like there's opportunities that, you know, and I get that they're trying to tell the Mandalorian story. And then, so, you know, obviously there's going to be a big battle in some capacity. I mean, now Din is captured. Like, I don't understand why when they had Din captured, they didn't just kill him right then and there. Like, what was the point of keeping him alive at that point? Because you're trying to wipe out everybody. And even Moff Gideon says, you know, thank you for bringing them to me. Now I'm going to wipe out all the rest of Mandalore forever, because these are the remaining ones. Why are you taking Mando hostage? Is it because he still wants Grogu for the cloning stuff to bring back Palpatine? Because that's where this is going. I get that, but you don't need Din now, because Grogu's just in IG-12 and there's no force field protecting him, which they should have done something like that. Like maybe a laser fired towards him, and then all of a sudden a shield came up and it deflected. It's something to give him more coverage in that little compartment. I'm looking forward to the last episode, but this season really hasn't been that good. What do you guys think? Let's talk about it in the comment section. We'll see you on